All right. It is great to be here with all of you in person. Thank you for coming. You know, we often talk about going back to normal, but I think all of us here know that isn't really exactly true. Our industry's been evolving, and that's even without facing global pandemics and war and economic instability and generally heightened stress as a result. So really, we're not going to go back, but rather we're here this week to learn, to understand, to get new ideas and insights that'll help you break through the noise of this current environment, face the challenges ahead, and drive your businesses forward. Here's how we'll spend our time today. We'll look at a few macroeconomic trends, then we'll examine challenges we face today managing in this complex and cluttered world. Then we'll explore 3 key things to focus on that will help you break through to win on every shelf. If the e-commerce boom of 2020 created new opportunities for retailers, heading into 2023, we're seeing added disruption. On the business side, of course, we're seeing some tightening of belts due to inflation, expenses, supplies, and other economic drags. However, we know there are also high shopper expectations and new channel competition, especially online, which means that retailers must energize their approach to create the user experiences that help to break through. I'd like to encourage you to engage with Syndigo and other companies here at NRF. Pick our brains how we can solve your challenges. Today, I'd like to share how your peers are evolving their approach, effectively managing more complex environments, and optimizing 3 primary strategies that lift retail business sales. On a large scale, we need to understand some macro trends that are happening in order to make our place in it. Here are some of the terms that directly relate to our industry. Omnichannel, growth in e-commerce versus in-store, but also both the number and types of channels shopped. Digital transformation. In order for businesses to keep up, there's often a need for vast investment in new ways of managing business through technology. There's a great desire to have information completed and connected across inputs and platforms when upgrading technology and business processes. And e-commerce, no matter how you spell it, remains an underlying driver of retail growth. You know, if you think about it, it wasn't actually too long ago when the idea of buying a car online sight unseen was completely unheard of. Now you can do that for nearly every make and model. E-commerce isn't just for delivery of books or DVDs, it's literally anything physical or virtual. And last, everything is a service. We've moved from business models that took expensive infrastructure to get started to ones that can start almost virtually given the as-a-service model. This means more competition can pop up quickly, whether it's ride shares like Uber, delivery services like DoorDash, or e-commerce suppliers selling directly to consumers. These are all important concepts, and there are many companies here that can help you on your journey. Now, certainly omnichannel is here to stay, and it's more than just in-store versus online, although you can see in the 2 pie charts here that shoppers, for the majority, are using both for research and for purchase. And these are active shoppers. If you look at the great big stat in big font on the right, they're shopping more often than the single channel shoppers do. It's also that they're more likely to look elsewhere for what they want if you don't have it. And whether that's due to having more variety or gaining trust in online or ease of searching, shoppers today are showing a greater willingness to experiment. So if you look at that top bar, 73% of those surveyed have tried a new shopping method. And similarly, in the next bar down, 73% also have changed brands since COVID-19 started. And we're also seeing shoppers changing retailers and trying private labels. As technology and capabilities expand, today's shopper is also evolving. The past few years have conditioned them to enjoy the convenience that online shopping provides, and there's no sign that they're slowing down. In fact, the key takeaway here is that this willingness to try new things is a behavior change that's here to stay. What's more, the magnitude of all this continues to grow as e-commerce grows. We're all familiar with the e-commerce trend. We know it's growing, even as we are seeing shoppers return to stores in person as well. So it becomes even more important that your message breaks through the noise. More than ever, the consumer is in control. The massive availability of products and locations makes the retail marketplace extremely fragmented and competitive, with your shoppers having more choice than they've ever had before. We have to approach the market today with the understanding that the shopper controls the transaction. Many of our competitive advantages of the past, like location, variety, and price, they're not as unique as differentiators as they once had been. The shopper doesn't actually have to go to the store, and if they do, they don't have to get out of their car to pick up their item. So let's talk about the challenges of managing in this cluttered world. Even though the marketplace has evolved, what shoppers want at the core really hasn't changed much. It's important to create engaging experiences. Remember, the consumer is in control, and today they're more open to trying new products or formats, so engagement is key. And this engagement across products, locations, and drivers of purchase decisions has moved upstream. The decisions that used to be made at the point of sale are now often being made before setting foot in the store, or perhaps not going there at all. And today, both in-store and digital are growing. On top of all of this, managing the massive information that's needed to support omnichannel is a total headache. There are many data sources to access, connect, and leverage across disparate systems to get the answers you need to act. So think about this. Who manages product information across your supply chain? Who manages it for your e-com sites? Who onboards new suppliers? And who manages shelf sets in-store? The point is this: the same item can have so many handlers. That's why when we hear about omnichannel, we have to understand that as shoppers engage multiple platforms and data sources to research and buy, we as businesses need to harmonize this information to have as comprehensive of a view as possible. For your shoppers, it can help you break through by delivering consistency across platforms, online and in-store. It goes beyond just a logo. It translates to core data like item size and variety. Labels should look the same online as they do in store. Case sizes and shipping packaging need to be accurate for transportation and warehouse slotting, and inventory should be updated in real time. All this is necessary in order to break through. And as part of our digital transformation, we should be managing our data platforms in order to deliver a unified commerce experience that connects internal back office product information to the external online content that drives sales. That way, no matter where your items are located, what suppliers you're working with, or where your shopper is, he or she will have a consistent and comprehensive experience. What's cool is it's something that both retailers and brands can agree on. So what does it look like in real life? Let's talk about my friend Ben. He loves wine. He really enjoys his Sauvignon Blanc. Now, he had ordered a case for a birthday party, and that's where our story begins. You see, he ordered it via delivery, and when it arrived, it showed some serious damage. The box was broken, and so were some of the bottles. And the delivery driver, when he saw the box, said to Ben's wife, "Hey, don't worry about it. I'll handle that for you." And by the way, you have to wonder how many delivery drivers would do that. So this wasn't actually a very expensive wine. It wasn't like a classic rare vintage that had something like insurance tied to it or something. But it was decent wine. And that's where our story gets interesting. See, Ben's a pretty easygoing guy. He's always got a smile on his face. But when he got home, he wasn't happy about the broken wine, and he wasn't comfortable that a delivery driver was going to set things right. So he put a call into the company's help center. When they answered, the cool thing is there wasn't a lot of explaining for Ben to do. In fact, the operator said, "Hey, are you calling about the dropped wine delivery that happened today?" Talk about a quick turn back to a positive mood. The operator knew Ben's name, and she knew exactly what happened. So the company, through the driver, the operator, and the system, had an understanding of their customer and possible next steps. And they've moved a dissatisfied customer to a satisfied one through connected data. But there's more to it. The operator continued telling Ben that there were no worries, no problem, and a new delivery would be there tomorrow. And then she added, "Hey, I noticed that you posted negatively on social media. Since you're such a long-time loyal customer, we want to make this experience right for you, and we want you to post up about that instead. So if you look at the slide, you'll notice that Ben doesn't actually have the exact same name or handle on his different social media, which means there was some serious data harmonization going on in the background here to this story. And then the operator said, hey Ben, because of what happened, I have a special offer for you. We have a premium New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and it's on promotion where you can get 9 bottles for the price of 6. It turns out, actually, that it's a much better bottle of wine, even at roughly double the price. But as you can see by Ben's face, he's okay with it because his problem was solved and he was offered a better solution. He moved from a critic to being a very satisfied customer. So by connecting the dots across business-critical master data, this company turned around a bad experience and made it into a good one, even at a higher price point. And that's the power of a unified commerce experience. You can connect product information, location data, multiple customer profiles, history, supplier data, and possibly additional upsells in the future. Data on its own is usable and important, but connecting the dots across data domains, that's where the real power lies. Master data that ties together locations, interactions, and other third-party information with analytics can help create better experiences and help you sell more. This is why we should be thinking about winning at every shelf, whether it's in-store, online, or whatever comes next. The consumer experience needs to be consistent, and that includes the back office information that ensures that products are where they're supposed to be and updated in real time. And it includes all outlets. Think about what your website shows online and compare it to what is in store. Think about your pick and deliver services, if you use them, or other intermediaries that are supporting your banners. Do you have a consistent product mix and availability? Are there barriers for your shoppers that you're not even aware of? Are your suppliers' products displaying accurately? And is everything complete? As you invest your time this week at NRF, I'd like you to think about the areas where you're experiencing inefficiency in the process and be open to how you can become more effective at breaking through to your consumer. To that end, there are 3 focus areas I'd like to leave you with to help you build a true unified commerce experience. First, we must focus on data quality. We all know that garbage in equals garbage out. The reason that product information requirements have become so complex is that the data is used for many different purposes. Weights and dimensions, for example, are critical not just for monitoring shelf space in store, but also in the supply chain because it affects shipping, storage, and direct-to-consumer selling. And accurately labeling ingredients on food items is more than just a convenience factor. They can be a matter of critical health and safety for people with serious allergies or dietary requirements. That's what we mean by having your content fit for purpose. It's not a simple left to right equation of input and output. It really is an active content ecosystem that feeds constantly changing requirements with updates across retailer and supplier partners. It means feedback loops that highlight where there is complete and effective information and where content doesn't meet the standard. On the screen, we illustrate in-store planograms next to digital shelf to show just 2 of the really obvious purposes and use cases that you all have as retailers. But knowing the type of data that's needed, when it is needed, and where it is needed requires continual effort and constant updates. For example, on Syndigo's platform, we execute more than 10,000 data quality rules against the items to feed our clients' systems. And we execute them more than 1 million times a day to validate your content. And enhanced content, the rich media and creative imagery that drives customer engagement, is one more type of content that's considered table stakes for online product pages because it is what drives significantly more conversion. For example, Syndigo analyzes more than 1 billion online product pages every year, and we see a lift of 45% or more for product pages with enhanced content compared to those without. Here are some of the key elements to address in order to build consistent data quality up there on the right. develop, maintain, and communicate your taxonomy, provide feedback capabilities to score and monitor vendor compliance, and ensure you're receiving the full asset so you can use it across your various needs. The way to get there is through data governance that includes all stakeholders across your organization. You must make sure the data is there and correct so your outputs work well, so that the data can be used in the right place at the right time. The second focus is all around connections. The real power of information happens when it connects to other data to reveal new insights. Just think of Ben's wine story. One way to achieve this is by linking data across variables or domains. For example, it's critical for a retailer to know how many product units they have, but what gives that information power is to understand where that product is physically located, what stage of completion it is in, whether it's in a customer warehouse or retail outlet, and where new items are headed. These connections are often created through master data management solutions, which look to create a golden record of information that operates as the ultimate source of reference. Combining data across domains provides insights that give business owners the power to make decisions effectively. And it drives the business processes that, again, help you to break through the challenges of disparate data across sources, incomplete or obsolete information, and the work that goes into maintaining all of this manually. This focus is all about connections. Onboarding and managing items are only part of the equation. Think about how you can be more effective if you can manage your in-store and supply chain content, plus e-commerce, plus analytics that help you to optimize not only product delivery and replenishment, but also the online content to drive more efficient sales. Oops. Look at the bubbles up on the screen. In top center, data is required to make a buying decision. Data is also required to get a vendor in. Data is required for product to be shipped. And of course, data is required to make the item available for sale. It's all connected to a central idea that provides the context for each item in time and space. And there's an equally important connection on the supplier side, and that's the syndication element. As retailers, you have unique requirements for taking in supplier information, and the better compliance you have, the better your information and user experience will be. At Syndigo, our retailer clients make about 25,000 attribute changes per month, which sheds some light on the challenges that suppliers face in keeping track of your requirements. Helping suppliers to know these requirements and how to keep them up to date is crucial for commerce. It impacts everything from the efficiency of stocking items in store to content completeness online. We manage as much as 250,000 attribute combinations per item for suppliers in order to meet your data requirements, and that amounts to over 600,000 publishing changes per day. Having a solution in place to ensure your platforms are connected to the content you need is absolutely critical. And finally, let's talk about optimizing. With today's fast and furious pace of e-commerce, it sometimes feels like a challenge to measure performance outcomes and then analyze and improve it. But the third area we should all be focusing on is how to optimize our performance. And thankfully, there are lots of ways to do this. For example, from an e-commerce perspective, we know that a product page with enhanced content almost always performs better than one with core content alone. However, the type of content, whether it's a feature image with marketing hotspots or a 360 spin image or stylized usage photos, also has an impact and can be different based on the product. So imagine the capability to track performance of different product pages, highlight the types of content that are performing better, and benchmark it to the category as a whole. And imagine providing that feedback to all your supplier partners. Being able to rapidly assess your product content and then modify it to optimize your performance has a super positive effect on sales. And by integrating these analytics back through the content ecosystem, you can continually optimize for the best results, delivering more improvement in content integrity and content engagement through a perpetual feedback loop. Let's take a look. Once our data is high quality, and once it's connected, then the road to optimization becomes much, much easier. So imagine we have implemented the strong capabilities for data setup and vendor onboarding with content monitoring and communication back to your suppliers. The last step that optimization is what creates the feedback loop that can be used to overall improve the user experience in-store and online. And by enabling a flexible user experience for your suppliers, that incentivizes compliance and content quality improvements. That's what the scorecards on the screen there represent. From there, we can layer on more analytics capabilities to get to the heart of optimization. Real-time performance monitoring and the capability of A/B testing different content on a product page. For example, like the 2 different types of dog harnesses you see in the picture on the screen. This is what closes the loop on being able to break through and win on every shelf. As we understand the ins and outs of our performance, we can also test to optimize. For example, by enabling A/B testing within a product page, you can understand the content that works best for your categories, or even better, imagine what your suppliers can do by customizing their items to your PDPs. It becomes a win-win and a competitive advantage to be able to use analytics feedback, continually optimizing content for better sales performance. So, as we wrap up today, let's zoom out just a little bit to show how the pieces can fit together in a comprehensive way. By focusing on data quality, content connections, and optimization, you can see how these elements can provide a continuous loop that can deliver breakthrough performance. When it gets done right, information flows across your entire ecosystem. We at Syndigo view this as a perpetual loop where product information can be used to connect with your suppliers as well as serving your internal needs, like data governance, product and supply chain management. And it also serves your shoppers' needs through data syndication, shopper engagement, and digital shelf analytics. And if you think about it, when content flows actively like this, then products move more effectively as well. It takes what we call active content, and we believe it's at the core of a successful execution where brands and retailers and the consumer all can benefit. So, I hope you find these next couple of days at NRF to be thought-provoking, interesting, and above all, impactful for your business. And if you have questions or you'd like to discuss these concepts further, I'll be around in booth 4057 with my Syndigo colleagues, and we'd love to chat. As we've shown today, there's no time to waste in delivering better experiences to your customers. By focusing on data quality, connected content, and optimization, you can make sure you're winning at every shelf. Thank you very much. Enjoy the show.